Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it has been a while since I've done a foundation review video. I used to do these all the time and I just kind of like dropped off on these a little bit, but I wanted to do a review on this foundation that I just got recently. It is the Stay Naked foundation by Urban Decay, and I really wanted to do this because I really liked their original Naked foundation. It was really good. It had really good lasting power, and I was excited to give this a try. I have not tried it yet, so this is a first impression, so I'm going to check in kind of throughout the day so you guys can kind of see how it lasts throughout the day. So I got the color 30NN. And it is this shade here, and I actually think it's gonna look really good on my skin. And then I got a powder to go with it, also 30NN, but this packaging is like everything. And then I also got a concealer to go along with it. All right guys, so I'm looking online. The Stay Naked Weightless Foundation is $39 and it comes in 50 shades, which is a lot of shades, which is awesome. They have tons of dark colors and they also have a ton of light colors, medium tone colors. The Stay Naked The Fix powder is $39 and that comes in 24 shades, which is pretty good. Like, I don't feel like you need as many different powder shades. I feel like powder is one of those things where you don't need like that exact perfect match, so that's really good. And then we have the Stay Naked Correcting Concealer, which is 25 shades, and that is $29. But the thing that I really like about Urban Decay now, this is something I really want to talk about, is Urban Decay is really trying to be better about waste. And they used to send like their full line to every person, so you'd have like every foundation shade that you would need. And you know, they had like these big like PR packages, and they are trying to get better about waste. So they had us actually go online and pick the shade that we think would work best for us, and they sent us everything that we needed in a smaller box. They didn't send us the entire shade range, and I think that's really amazing because Urban Decay clearly cares a lot about waste more than they care about like extravagance. So I think that's really cool, and I really wanted to mention that so you guys know and are aware. So first, one thing I want to say is their original Naked foundation was amazing. That foundation lasted so long. This is a 24-hour wear, so apparently this is supposed to last for 24 hours, and it is 1.0 fluid ounces. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of moisturizer. This is the Vitamin C lotion by Pixi. This was in my Best Products of 2019 video, and I just got it all over my pants. Great. Just for a little layer of moisturizer. So I'm going to do one pump over my whole face because I want to see if one pump will cover your whole face fairly well. Now, as you can see, it's a fairly liquidy foundation. It's kind of dripping down, so it doesn't have that really thick cream-like consistency, which I tend to like creamier foundations because they tend to have better coverage. So we will see how good of coverage this is. So one thing that I have to say about the Urban Decay foundations is they have a specific scent to them, and they definitely have like that strong kind of paint-like scent, which I know sounds like a complete turnoff, but they do. It smells kind of paintish. So let's go ahead and apply it all over our face to see how one pump does. I turned down my exposure a bit so you guys could see. Okay, so one pump, based on what I like in a foundation, I would definitely say is a more lighter finish. If you guys hear my cat running around, that's what that noise is. But this is definitely a lighter finish. It's not a heavy coverage foundation by any means. So if you like a lighter finish, this is definitely probably a good foundation for you. I have like a pimple right here on the bridge of my nose, and it's kind of red, and you can really kind of see it still with like one layer. So I could definitely see myself using this on a day that I want a little bit of a lighter coverage, but I'm going to do one more pump to kind of see if this foundation is buildable. This is also really easy to blend, which is nice. So I'm going to show you up close. You can still see kind of like the redness of this pimple. My under eye circles aren't like fully covered. Obviously concealer would help that out a little bit, but you can kind of see still some of the details of my skin. It's not like full coverage. So I'm going to do one more coat to see what that looks like. So this is about a half of a pump. So a pump and a half is what is going to be on my skin today. So that did help a little bit, but still, I would definitely say it's more of a light to medium coverage. It's not a heavy coverage foundation, even with a pump and a half. But it is buildable. You guys can see my under eye circles are a bit better. So I feel like it covered that little pimple on my nose a bit better. My under eye circles are definitely a bit better than they were previously. So that half a pump extra definitely added a little bit more coverage there. Okay, so I definitely don't feel like it's drying really fast. I feel like the original Naked dried a lot faster. So that's not really happening as much with this. It definitely still has that glow to it without the powder. So I'm going to apply the concealer. This is the 20WY, and this is in like Fair. This looks a little too light for me, but it's fine. We're going to go with it. So I'm just going to do this, put a little bit on my lids. I don't like concealers that are this light. I used to, but it's not really my thing anymore. So this kind of reminds me a little bit of the Shape Tape, the consistency of it. I would say the Shape Tape might be a little bit heavier coverage, but it kind of reminds me of that to a certain degree. And it definitely also has kind of that painty scent that the foundation does. I feel like my under eye circles are pretty good. I would prefer this to be a little bit darker, maybe a little bit more salmon-y. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with the Urban Decay powder. So this has the UD on it, which is really cool, and it also has this pad. Now, I don't normally use these pads, but sometimes I will take the pad and I will just set under my eyes with the pad, especially if I'm looking for something maybe a little bit more long-lasting. And then I just take a big fluffy powder brush and apply lightly onto my skin. I would definitely say this powder is a heavier powder, so it actually works well with a foundation if you want a little bit of a heavier HD look. So once everything is on my skin, I do feel like this is a more matte look when you put the powder over the top. It was definitely not quite as matte as the original foundation before I put the powder on. It had a more like shine to it, a little bit more moisture, but with the powder on it, it's definitely more matte. If you guys are wondering, my skin is pretty normal. It's not overly oily or overly dry, but sometimes like later in the day, I can get a little bit of oil if the foundation has sat on my skin for like quite a few hours, which you guys will see later in check-ins. But right now it's very, very matte, and I feel like with the powder on, it's decent coverage, but I would definitely consider the foundation alone kind of more medium, maybe even medium light. But right now I think it's really pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and apply the rest of my makeup and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, you guys, so here is the final makeup look with the foundation on. And one thing that I was definitely noticing while applying my makeup is, you know, sometimes when you're applying your makeup and you put your finger or your hand on your skin and the foundation kind of like rubs off in that area while you're applying your eyeshadow or whatnot. That did not happen at all with this foundation. It stayed on my skin extremely well. It like did not budge while I was applying the rest of my makeup, which was amazing. My blush and my contour blended really, really well. Right now I'm using the Smashbox one that was in my best products of the year. And that's the foundation that I use for kind of like my lighter, more natural days. And I could definitely see myself using this for when it's like, I just want something light. I want something kind of for every day. I don't need to be like HD, you know, glam or anything like that. And I could definitely see myself using this for that. So far, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I will let you guys know what I think in a few hours. I'll let you guys know if it's lasted really well. I'm gonna film a few more videos and probably get a little bit of cleaning done as well. So I'm gonna be moving around, doing a lot of things. So I will let you guys know kind of what I think here in a little bit. So I will see you guys in a few hours. Hey guys, so I'm doing my first check-in. It is 2:45 right now. I have to pick up my girls from school in about like 3 minutes, so this is gonna be pretty quick. And it has stayed actually really, really well, but I definitely see a little bit of oil peeking through right on my chin area. I definitely do feel like I have a little bit more of a glow going on and I don't look quite as matte, which is actually a good thing because I felt like right off the bat it was like really, really matte and a little on the cakey side. I don't know if it was like this on top of the foundation. I did do a pump and a half. I'm not really sure, but I actually do like now that my kind of oil is peeking through. I look slightly more glowy, but it stayed in place without, you know, like melting off in certain areas. Usually my nose is an area where I melt first and it has stayed really well there, but I will do a close-up so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. So this is what my skin looks like up close. You guys can see a little bit of shine right here. My little pimple here has stayed covered, but you can see a little bit more of a glow in my skin, which I actually prefer. It still looks really beautiful, but it's just a titch more glowy. If you guys have oilier skin than I do, you may see a little bit of more oil peek through, but mine isn't too out of control, so I feel like it's like the perfect amount to make this foundation look really dewy and nice. So Hey guys, so it is now 9:15, so it's been many hours since I've had this foundation on my skin, and to be honest, I'm ready to take it off. So I'm going to talk to you guys about kind of how it did throughout the day and kind of what I think about it right now after it being on for so long. I don't know if you guys can see from the camera or not, but what I feel like happened with this foundation is, okay. Let me preface this by saying I kind of forgot that I was filming a foundation review video, and so I was touching my face like a lot, and I was like rubbing my skin, like kind of forgot that I was like filming today. So I did kind of rub my skin in some areas without thinking, but one thing I can say is I almost feel like the concealer lasted a little bit longer than the foundation did. My concealer is like in place. It is not going anywhere. The concealer didn't crease at all. The concealer was phenomenal. So if you're looking for something that's like really high coverage, that's gonna last a long time and that's not gonna like fall into your wrinkles as much as some concealers might, I would highly recommend this. It's really good. I would say the concealer is a little bit too light for my skin, and you can definitely see it in this footage right now. Because my foundation did get a little bit rubbed off here and there, the concealer is like obviously still there, really bright, but it's kind of rubbed off like in this area. It looks a little bit strange, but the concealer stayed and it stayed strong, so that's a really, really good thing. One thing about the foundation too that I noticed is I liked it the more I wore it. So I liked it when I first applied it, but it was pretty darn matte and my skin didn't have a lot of dimension. I mean, it looked really, really good. Like it looked pretty flawless, but I loved how the glow kind of appeared throughout the day. But the thing was, is it wasn't melting off. I didn't feel like it was like coming off of my skin necessarily. It was just glowing a little bit more and a little bit more throughout the day, and I thought it looked so beautiful around like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock or so. It looked really, really pretty. Like I said, I've been kind of touching my face a little bit, but for the most part, I think it lasted fairly well. But if you're somebody that likes to scratch your skin or you rub your skin, know that it may not last through a lot of touching or scratching, or if you're just like one of those people that messes with your skin. If you have really, really oily skin, then it may get too oily. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But overall, I think that this foundation is great. It's definitely more of a everyday foundation for like the medium days or the lighter days. I wouldn't necessarily use it for like HD coverage or anything like that. I think this foundation is pretty good and I really like it. So I hope this video was helpful, and let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I'll be happy to answer them as best as I can. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.